Hey, 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 how are you all doing? You are speaking with your girl, Anita Cornett, your self-expansion, well-being guide facilitator, and also I like to say women's growth mentor. All right, so let's get into it, okay? So I did share this with my email community, and so if you are not part of the email community, I will share a little bit more information a little bit later. But for now, as you can see, the title is The Power of Saying No. And so I really wanted to talk about this because it's so important. So I have a question for you. How have you ever felt overwhelmed because you say yes to everything? I'm going to say this again. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by saying yes to everything? And then when you notice you said yes to everything, you're looking at your calendar and your plate is full. Okay, sis, your plate is full, meaning from Monday to Sunday, you got so much stuff on your list to where you're trying to juggle things because you're saying yes to everything. Now, so the reason why I wanted to have this conversation, because this is something this is not a one and done conversation. This will come in different type ways. I've said it in different ways, but I really want to talk about it because this is a month of love, right? So we've had Valentine's Day, self-love all year. I went to a self-love retreat that was hosted by Nicole Hector. She did a great, awesome, amazing job as always. And it's just a reminder for me that even though in this season I haven't been able to do a lot of the virtual self-love challenges, I wanted to just have this conversation. And if I can't see your comments, I will comment later. But have this conversation, dialogue, whatever you want to have it, however you want to see it, because I think I can't see your comments right now. In talking about the power of saying no. And so let this be a reminder of, respecting yourself, having boundaries, loving yourself, honoring yourself enough to know that it's okay to say no, especially depending on what it is. If this is an emergency type situation, that's completely different. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about false urgencies, right? I'm talking about things that don't align with your personal mission, your vision, your goals. This could be your organization. This could be your business you're starting or scaling or pivoting into. This could be something that you're doing within your community, and you actually have a program of work, and whatever that opportunity could be, does it align with your organization's program of work, right? So there's opportunities all around us. Let's be mindful of that. There's opportunities all around us, so we're not limited to that. However, all of us have the same amount of time in the day. And so we want to be intentional with our time. And the time goes by extremely fast depending on what you have going on in your life and the schedule that you have. And so I want to really hone on into this topic with my sisters that are dual-hatted, meaning you are doing more things than one, okay? You could be a mother. You could be a mother working a full-time demanding job, okay? And then you're also a leader within your community, meaning you are in sorority or sorority-like organizations. You may be the president, the vice president. You may be holding on to leadership positions outside of the home that you have in your community, to include your work. You could be a caregiver. So again, you are a leader in so many ways, right? And so it's important that you're intentional. You have intentional with your time, intentional with the things that you're doing. And it takes time to be mindful of that at sometimes, because I know that we also want to answer to opportunities, but we can't do every opportunity. Just because it's in our face does not mean that it's not going to be available later. And so in entrepreneurship, sometimes we may have a fear of missing out if we don't say yes to that opportunity. And then you'll later realize that, wait a minute, I could have did this later because they're doing this same program or this event activity in like 3 months down the line, but you didn't know that. So it's another opportunity, but at the time you cannot participate in it. So you don't always have to say yes to everything, especially depending on what you have going on. So again, it's meaningful over the busy work. And so again, I want to talk to my sisters that are dual role, dual headed, doing a lot of things, within your life work and you're on your own personal mission that you have going on. So the power of saying no. And so that's why I wanted to ask you the question, how often have you ever felt overwhelmed by saying yes to everything and have a busy schedule after that all week? And then you're overwhelmed because you have such a busy schedule when you could have just looked at your schedule and made intentional decisions for that time being and say, okay, I could do this at a later time, or can this wait? Because there's ways to do those type things, but not everything is an emergency either. All right. So again, I have my notes here, so I wanted to make sure I stay on task and stay on time. So if you have any comments, I may not see them now because I'm using my phone. So if you do have comments, I do apologize. I cannot see them, but I will respond later. So again, this is the power of saying no. And I just wanted to have a chat combo to just give you a reminder of why it's important. And especially for my ladies that are doing a lot of things, right? And so with the power of saying no, just like I mentioned before, why does it matter? Just like I talked about, maintaining boundaries. What are your boundaries? What are some things, the limits that you have when it comes to saying yes? Again, going back to your alignment. Does it align with your mission, vision, goals? And when I say goals, this could be personal or professional goals. You know that, and you have to identify what that is, but you just have to take the time. And then also, I didn't mention it, but what are your values? That's key also. So again, going back to who you are, what you do, and what you believe. But again, going back to your values, your mission, vision, and goals. And so this is similar to what you would see in an organization, right? And so just like an organization, you have to look at that when it comes to your personal mission, what you have going on. Just like entrepreneurship or community work that you're doing, you still have a purpose of doing that. Because if you don't have a purpose, why are you doing it? There's a reason behind everything that you do, right? So you have to know what that is. Once you know what that is, then only you know what the boundaries are, right? Or what you actually will do and what you won't do, or what you will stand for and what you will not stand for. And so that goes back to, again, like Love Month, respecting yourself. So again, going back to, you want people to treat you how you would treat them. So if you're treating them with love, it goes back to loving yourself, not beating on yourself and saying, yeah, I'm gonna do this and do that. And then you end up wondering why you did all these things and now you're burnt out. So again, the reasons why it matters is because you're dealing with boundaries. You want to maintain boundaries. You want to set them. You want to establish them. And then depending on what you have going on in your season, you may have to shift. And it's okay to do that, to make adjustments. But only you know that. Then the next thing would be to, again, going back to your interests and desires. So is this something that's of interest to you? And is this the desires of your heart? Because if it's something that somebody else wants to do and you're just saying yes to it, again, it goes back to people pleasing. Because the only thing it's going to do is lead to burnout if you continue to go on the route of doing things because everybody else needs you to do that when there's other people that can do it also. So are there other people that can do those things that you're saying yes to? Is there like a rotation? And the reason why I bring this up is because when it comes to leadership and delegation, that's important, especially if you are a community leader and you can't just press the button for this one person when it should be more than that one person that can do the same task, right? So it shouldn't be all the time where you're doing it and you're constantly saying yes when you actually need to be doing other things. It doesn't mean you're going to say yes to it and you're burning midnight oil on other tasks. So you're going to say yes to all these things and you're going to be staying late doing everything else. So it's important to understand why the power of saying no is important, especially, again, talking to my sisters that are having, you got multiple roles when it comes to leadership in your home, community, work, entrepreneurship, those type things. Okay. All right. So then you also want to look at a few things. So this is the thing I want to talk about. So Joe, hello, Joe. So one of the things, like I mentioned before, if you comment, I can't see your comments, and I'll comment later. This is for my sisters in entrepreneurship, or actually in small business. This is about social media. Okay. So when it comes to the power of saying no, just because you have friend requests does not mean you have to respond to all of your friend requests. If you don't know them, you don't have to say yes to all of them. You just kindly decline them, right? So that's just an example of, when it comes to requests that you're going to get on several social media networks, right? And then you have the social audio. So I'll give you an example. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar with Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is a social audio, is still live and well, even though some people don't think it is. it is. And I can't tell you how the volume of people that are actually on there now versus how it was during like 3 years ago. But I do know that it's live and well and people are still active on there. And I actually built I would say a decent following on the platform. A lot of people have left and went to other social audios, or they're not as active. But during that time period, I actually had a lot of opportunities to where, mind you, this time period, okay, I'm not going to say the words, but it was 2-3 years ago. Okay. So, there were so many opportunities that, I would get messages, I would have contacts. I would have people come to my rooms. They would listen in, social listening. They would give their feedback because I did have a lot of social audio rooms. A lot of it was like self-care, mindset type topics. And there was always someone that had an opportunity where they wanted to collaborate or they wanted to do something with me because we pretty much had the same niches. Well, at some point, it started to become a distraction because some of them I truly did want to work with. But it became a distraction because it wasn't getting me to the goals that I had for that time period. And so the time period that I was on the social audio, I mean, I'm still on there, but I'm not as active as I used to be. But I really wanted to focus on, gaining a following, but also gaining an understanding of the needs of, potential clients that I have as far as what their needs when it came to personal coaching. And so that was my goal. But when you actually had the collaborations, it was veering off to other things. And so some of the individuals weren't even really in business. They were in business temporarily because they knew that there were opportunities on the platform. And then you had a lot of scams going on. So this is a time period where you had a lot of individuals, professionals that say they were one thing. And then when it came to reality, they weren't. So you had a lot of scammers out there. And so it goes back to distraction. So if you are someone that you truly know exactly what it is that you want to do, you'll read between the lines and you won't get distracted as much. Now, am I going to say you're not going to get distracted? You will get distracted, but it won't be as often. So the power of saying no is, again, being mindful of that. What are the things are for you, your interests, your goals, your mission, and then also, reading between the lines when it comes to, is this a distraction or is this aligned with what it is that I want to do now in this season? Is it going to get me closer to that based on this collaboration or this communication or this activity or event that was brought to me? And so if it is, then great. Well, you make sure that you align it with your schedule. But it doesn't mean that you put so much on your plate. So now again, your plate is full where you're busy all day from 05 in the morning all the way up to like 10 o'clock at night. So being mindful of that and knowing your schedule. All right. So again, I gave you an example, friend requests. This is on any platform. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of the new social media networks, platforms, apps. Listen, we're in the digital space. There are going to be constant new applications, softwares that come up to include AI tools. At one point, it was ChatGPT, Claude. There's so many that's going to constantly get developed. Gemini. I'm truly, as an instructional designer, the AI is something that I stay abreast with. But at some point, it became overwhelming because everybody is on a different level with ChatGPT and everybody wants to talk about these prompts, this and that and the other. But is that something that you need? You know what I'm saying? So it's really still understanding what is it that you need and what is going to get you closer. It's one thing to stay abreast of what's going on in your space, especially depending on your industry. That's the number one thing. But the most thing is really making sure that you're not getting distracted. So great, you know how to do ChatGPT prompts. What are the things that you actually need to do to move the needle when it comes to using AI tools to assist you with content creation or productivity or planning? You focus on that. So you don't have to have every AI tool that comes about, but that's just something that I want to just bring up because it's similar to social media networks. You're going to have so many social media networks that come up, but you're not going to be able to be on all of them at one time in the same space. You can still distribute your content, but you're not going to be on every one communicating all the time. You're going to see yourself burn out. And that's another thing that I want to talk about as well. Because at one point I was in so many groups in social media network, similar to like Facebook or whatever, that I lost track of what when it came to entrepreneurship, what my mission was. My mission was not to be in all these groups doing market research all day. So again, being intentional with your time and energy so that you can actually get to what it is that you need, right? So again, the power of saying no. Just because it looks good, it sounds good, does not mean it's what you need right now in this season. All right, so let me see, what else do I have here? Talked about social media networks, different platforms. So my sisters that are in coaching or in personal development or business development, this is the same thing for you, especially if you're starting out. And you may hear a lot about the different type acronym coaching programs that have master resale rights or private label rights. That's not going away. So again, you don't have to say yes to everything. It may look good and sound good, but you can always say no and come back to it. And the reason why I say that is you'll find yourself investing in all of these courses and programs that are not as high in price, but you can't consume all of it. And some of it is basic and not at the level where you need it to be for yourself if you actually want to move forward based on where you are. And for beginners, yes, but for advancement, you need to truly be intentional, find out exactly what it is that you need based on your level of experience so that you're not investing in something that is basic level. That's not, it's not where you are right now. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you see all of these courses that come about, you really just have to take the time and say, okay, what level is this? Is it what I need? And just say no to it and keep it moving because you're going to see something similar to it later on. I say that because out of experience, I had a lot of, I would focus on one or two coaches at one time, but their programs, it was always, oh, I got to get this program. Again, fear of missing out. So I'm saying yes to these things, but it's still not getting me closer to my goal, what I need, but it's putting money in their pockets. So truly be intentional what it is that you want to invest in so that it gets you closer to what it is that you desire, that you want. And it's not necessarily just for business. It's for leadership. It's for learning something, learning a new skill, communication, software, whatever that is. But you just have to be intentional with truly finding out how is it going to help you, and it is at the level that you need. Is it basic or is it too advanced or is it intermediate? And that's what you need to do. All right. So that's why I wanted to give you those examples when it comes to why it's important to do that. Now, let me see if I have anything else here. So one of the things that I want to share when it comes to some practical ways. I mean, I know I said some of them, I just blended them in, but this is just something, and I don't really want to call it a framework, but it's just something to think about, that if you're someone that's constantly on the go, because this is who I'm really talking to, those are on the go, you got a lot of stuff going on, and you just want to get things done too. But again, about being intentional, I just have 4 things just for you to think about, okay? And I'm on time. I'm good. I'm on time. So when you find yourself in a situation where you're communicating with someone, this doesn't have to be face-to-face. This could be online, virtual, right? And you're given an opportunity, right? So this opportunity could be a networking event. This could be something of community volunteer work. So again, my sorority sisters or sorority alike organizations, volunteer partnerships, to where you are introduced to something and you're given the opportunity, but what do you do with it? Because it could sound good to you, or it could be where it might not be aligned with you at the time. So again, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because people pleasing, I've been through a majority of my life, not wanting to disappoint, and also feeling guilty by saying no, because your efforts or what you do or your talent may be needed. And by you saying no, then you're probably thinking about, okay, how is this going to move forward? Right. So I would still pause before you respond to the individual. Just think, before you automatically say something, think about. And again, I'm making sure I write, put it in my notes here, looking at my notes here and what I said here. So you're going to pause before you respond. The second thing is you're going to think about it. And then, is this aligned with you right now? So remember, I talked about your personal mission, your vision, your goals, and this could be personal or professionally. Does this align? And so you have to think about that. So it's either a yes or a no. If it's a yes, then again, being intentional, because I'm all about productivity also. When is this happening? Okay, so is it happening 2 weeks from now, or is it happening in a month from now? Again, you're talking about planning, preparation, all those type things. If it aligns and you actually have time based off your schedule, then you intentionally put it on your schedule, and of course follow up with the individual. But if it's a no, you kindly decline, but you still want to make sure you're not nasty with the individual, and just let them know that you're open for opportunities, but this doesn't align with me in this moment. And so when you kindly decline, you just kindly decline and stay having an open communication with the individual. But again, this is communication where you have to have someone that is respectful and they're actually mature. So I'm not talking about those that they contact you and they start manipulating or bullying, because right there, that's a red flag. That there's no more communication. It's just, I kindly decline and let it go. Because you're going to be in communication with some people that are pushy. They're not going to just accept your no. You have to be willing to just continue to say no about it and be okay with it. Been there, done that. So you have to be mindful of that. So not everyone is, they won't automatically accept your no, but you have to be ready and willing to actually do that and not change your mind. It's not about you feeling guilty, even though you will, but you staying your ground because, again, you're having your boundaries, you're setting your boundaries, you're respecting yourself, you're honoring your values. That is the power of saying no, because you still have your power. You're not just giving up and changing everything that you believe in just so you can satisfy someone else, right? So the power of saying no. Like I said, if you have any comments, please place them in the chat and I will respond to them. But again, I just wanted to make sure that I talk to you all because, again, this is about doing meaningful work over busy work. Okay, meaningful work. When you want to have meaning, purpose, it means something to you to where you actually have a purpose and you know exactly that there is a result that's impacting a life of someone. It's influencing a positive decision for a person to where they shift and change or there's a transformation that happens in their life based off of the work that you're doing. Versus the busy work to where you're constantly overwhelmed and you're doing things, but you're not really into it, but you're just doing it. Sometimes it could be you could just be doing it to check a block because you have to do it, and you know those type of things. We're not in for that. We want the meaningful work. Okay, let's do that. If it's something that you don't want to do and you know you can delegate it, then delegate it. Let's be in a place of meaningful over busy work. Okay. So if you have any comments, like I said, I will respond to them. And I'm just excited that you are here. If you're not listening live, you're listening to the replay. Thank you for watching the replay when you watch this video or this recording. And if you aren't a member of the Women's Creative Collective, I will leave the link in the comments a little bit later today or once I actually close off on this. And so that you can actually join. Looking forward to continuing this conversation and adding more. All right. So love you. Talk to you later.